There's Rattlesnake number 2 under the rock there. I'm probably about 10 feet away. I'm walking out of the town of Wendover, and now I gotta try and get myself a ride back down to the southern end of the Go-Shoot Mountains down there along Highway 93. It's gonna be a bit of a challenge, just kind of thumbing it out of town, trying to get a ride into the middle of nowhere from somewhere. Just got a little ways out of town here. I think this is gonna be a pretty tough hitch. All the traffic pretty much stops right at the edge of town. I don't want to wait around all day. I've got some miles to cover, so called a taxi. It's gonna be $80, but whatever. So they're gonna be here in 5 minutes, and be hiking here pretty soon. Just got dropped back off on Highway 93. Just gonna be back up into the Go-Shoots. And of course, gunshots. Take that sign, you don't tell me what to do. So this is a sign that's basically saying if you're walking off trail, if you're walking off this road, watch out. There are traps, and you might get hurt, you might get injured, might take your leg. Okay, I'll stay to the road for now. You know, I think with mountains, it's easy to say, you know, the camera doesn't do this place any justice, and you can understand that. You could look at it and you could kind of use your imagination to fill in the gaps. But out here, it's a bit different. You might look at this as a bit bland and boring and empty and desolate, but something about it just inspires this, you know, deep, powerful feeling of, I don't know, adventure and excitement, I guess. I don't know if you really call this a cave, but there's a crack in between the two rocks there. This one's a bit interesting in the sense that it goes all the way through. This is an interesting find right here. Looks to be a dead bobcat. And you gotta wonder what happened to him. Yes, I've been walking for almost 2 months now, and I remember my time on the CDT, kind of around this time. And I just sort of felt like pretty much forget about your life at home, you know. This is your life now. This is your home. It's all you know. It's kind of where I'm at now. And I am looking forward to finishing and relaxing a bit, getting out in the water, doing some kayaking, some fishing, and just relaxing. But at the same time, you just kind of get settled into this routine and this lifestyle. And I've got about 250 miles to go before I reach my end point. So I figure another 2 weeks or so, and I'll be all finished up with this hike. So the finish line's finally in sight. It's kind of a weird feeling now, being on the second to last segment. There's another pile of bones. Not quite sure what this guy is, or was. And I'm basically done walking around the southern extension of the Go-Shoots. And now the next mountain range on the list here is Kinsley Mountains. It's one of the more obscure mountain ranges in Nevada, really, when you start throwing out names. pretty much nobody knew what I was talking about when I said Kinsley Mountains. So here I am again in one of the most obscure corners of Nevada. And I just saw my first bolt of lightning not all that far away. It's not a good sign. I'm the highest thing around down here in the bottom of this valley. I don't really have much choice. I can't crawl my way through here. All right, holy shit. A bolt of lightning just hit the top of the mountain right there. Very, very, very loud. I mean, I don't have anywhere to go. Got nowhere to go here. Yeah, it's starting to rain now. Just hope the lightning is done. Man, that is scary. Just being the highest thing around down here. I don't have anywhere to go. There's about 6 horses over there. They saw me and just started running. So yeah, take a preemptive move, I guess. Up there, I can kind of see some tailings, I think. There's a gold mine, and that's basically my next water source. I'm gonna head up to the top of the crest up there and follow the ridgeline for a while. This looks like fairly easy cross-country walking, so I'm just gonna go pick a straight line and head towards it. So this is the entrance to the gold mine here, and as far as I know, the mine has kind of been operating intermittently over the last several years. It's changed hands a few times, and right now I don't believe it's operating at all. There's a pronghorn right there. Yep, there he goes. Yeah, you're safe there, buddy, don't worry. Yep, it's a big hole in the ground. Well, this is the gold mine. I don't really know much about it. I was told there was water here somewhere, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I know it's on the east side of the mountain somewhere. And that's all I know, really. And a second big hole. No water. Yeah, I wish I knew what I was looking for this water source. I didn't really get the scoop on that. You know, is it a spring? Is it a, you know, a water tank? Is it a, you know, a puddle at the bottom of one of these pits? Okay, this is interesting. I've never seen one of these. It's hidden behind this porta potty. There's this thing here with soap, and there's actually water. There's a foot pedal down here that you push with your foot, and water comes out. Now, of course, it says, do not drink, no Bieber. And if my water filter can take care of dirty, nasty guzzler water, that's got to be good enough. Only problem is it's kind of shallow. It's going to be hard to get my bottle under that. Of course, I got my platypus, and this thing's flexible, so I will Bieber. I must Bieber. Slow. You have to continuously pump the foot pedal for water to come out. All right, so it said do not drink, no Bieber. Let's give it a shot. It's definitely got a funky, like, chemical type taste. Maybe some drink mix. Well, this one's a bit too big to take with me, but this is a nice chunk of Wonderstone. And there's a bit of a trail that kind of follows the crest for a little ways, and then it's going to be off trail from there. So that's what I'm going to do. It does look like there's a lot of trees and vegetation. I am kind of anticipating a bit of a bushwhack, but it's only going to be like a mile. Only a mile. Could be 2 hours. What am I getting myself into? So now I'm up on the crest of Kinsley Range, and this is having to look west for the first time. So this mine is kind of like a maze of random roads and paths, and I'm trying to go this way, and I see a road, like a path up along this hillside that goes where I want to go. It's just a matter of getting to it. I found my road. It's barely a road. It's kind of, you know, pretty angled to be a road, but it's taking me up in the direction I want to go, almost up on the crest. I follow this for a little ways and then it's going to fade out. Man, this valley just looks so vast and empty and dry, really. I've seen no water since I've left the highway. So that's all it for that little road. Now it's off trail for a little bit on this ridge line. I'm gonna go over this little hump here, and then on the other side is a saddle, and then I'll see Antelope Peak, which is the high point. I just passed a couple pretty decent campsites, pretty good campsites actually, on this ridge line here. But to be honest, the ridge is a little bit clearer and flatter and just overall better suited to camping than I expected. So I'm gonna try and summit Antelope Peak and get on the other side of that before dark. Of course, just as I say that, I find myself kind of trapped up on these rocks. And this is the final ridge line up to the summit of Antelope Peak. There's nothing like being on a summit at sunset. So beautiful. Oh wow, and this summit's actually got a summit register. This is the first one I've seen in Nevada of all the summits I've been on. Okay, so the last time this was summited was October 2018, twice in 2017, 2007 and 2003. So wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the last 17 years. All right, well, let's make it number 6. It's actually a pretty nice peak, pretty easy to climb. Nice little scramble, super easy, no exposure. And the best part is there's a campsite, not a pre-made campsite. There's a flat spot where I will camp. Thinking right here will do. So that's gonna be a nice spot to lay my head down tonight. Nothing like camping up high. All right, rise and shine. Nothing beats waking up on the top of a mountain peak, I'll tell you. Yes, this is where I slept last night. I got lucky there wasn't a whole lot of wind because my tent stakes, that's about as far down as they go into the ground. There's basically just a big rock slab right below the surface of this dirt here. So I just kind of positioned these rocks right above the tent stakes and got everything nice and taut. But a good wind probably would have just blown me away. So looking ahead from here, got to continue down this ridge line here. Once I get down on the other side of that, this is the end of the Kinsley Mountains. Either way, I'm going to head for that tall peak over there, which I believe is Becky Peak, and that's basically the start of the Schell Creek Range. So right at the end of this ridge line here where it meets that road, you can see like a square cut out of the land there, and that is a section of private property, but there's a water source there, and it's the only water source in the next, I don't know, maybe 10 miles or so. This ridgeline's really becoming a pain in the ass. I was hoping to be able to just follow it straight down to the road, but it's been like a real zigzaggy kind of path. Keep getting cliffed out or meeting these little ledges and find another way.
Well, here's a huge pile of horse shit, and these are called stud piles. They're basically territorial markings left by rival males. So I guess if I were a horse, this huge pile of manure might intimidate me.
Well, I'm all done with the Kinsley Mountains. I had to look back up at the ridgeline. So this is my next water source here, private property. Enter at your own risk. Well, there's water. Actually, wow, that is really clear. That is super clear. Yeah, nothing like water from a giant tire. Yeah, filtering water from a water source on private property, I kind of feel like an animal in Africa. It's a little bit vulnerable out in the open. Pretty obvious what you're doing. You're at a water source. So last night I think I heard a coyote for a brief moment. And if so, that would only be the second time on this whole trail. I heard coyotes every night on the CDT in New Mexico. I just kind of figured Nevada would be, you know, roughly similar. Not a coyote dense state, I suppose. Well, these are the Antelope Mountains. There's really not much to them. Kind of sparse, a little bit barren and kind of plain. At least you get some distant views of the, you know, the high country over there. Well, here's a spring I had marked dry on my map, but there's actually flowing water. The problem is all the cows. It's a pretty nasty looking area. It's an antelope. Oh, yep, bunch of them. It's about 5 of them. Yeah, you're safe over there, guys. Good call. Yeah, I haven't really come across too many burn areas. This is kind of rare, actually. I mean, Nevada gets wildfires. It just seems like not at the same level as, you know, California or Idaho or places like that. There's a big herd of horses right there. There's probably, I don't know, 15. Oh, wow. And there's another like 10 or 15 up on the hill behind them. And yeah, I saw about 35 horses, 5 or 6 antelope. Other than that, there was really not much to see. Just a lot of trees, a lot of ups and downs and stuff. And Honestly, if I could do it all over again, I probably would have just walked around this range. It was about the same mileage to take a low route, but I opted for the high route. I'm finding this view pretty impressive here. That's the Schell Creek Range with Steptoe Valley in front of it there. So I'm not quite going that far. I'm actually going over there to Becky Peak, but I should have great views of Steptoe Valley and Schell Creek from along the Schell Creek Range. This is a spring that's on the map, but I guess I missed it when I did my planning. I didn't mark it. I was kind of surprised to see this here, but yeah, nice, good, clear water and a big tire. I just took lunch under this juniper tree. It's always good for shade. And now it's time to go back out into the heat. The storm is kind of moving on this way. It's actually quite sunny over here. Now I'm back into the typical Nevada heat of the afternoon here. So this is the start of the Schell Creek Range right here. You can see this ridge line come down and meet the valley. Basically, I'm going to climb up to the top of the ridge and follow some variant of the ridge, or you know, roads or trails or paths below the ridge. Just run parallel to it. And this is another spring that's marked on my map. Well, there is water, but it sure stinks. Nasty. Wow. Yeah, that's just like a swamp over there. A shit swamp. Here's another burn area. This one looks pretty recent, and you can tell by the fact that there's just no regrowth anywhere. So that's Becky Peak right there. When I took my break under the juniper tree maybe an hour and a half ago, it was 11 miles away. And I'm at least planning on making it up to the saddle below the summit there. There's supposed to be a spring, so it'd probably be a pretty good place to camp. Hey there, little guy. What are you doing? You're just sitting in the tree? What are you doing, buddy? Are you stuck? Where's your mama at? Huh? Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Aw. Aw. Just kind of. Yeah, actually, I think something's wrong with him. I think he's sick or something. I don't know what this guy's deal is. He's like stuck in the tree here. Come on, buddy. Back out this way. No. That's not gonna work for you. There you go. Well, at least you're out of the tree. Now what are you gonna do? The world's your oyster. Yeah, something's wrong with him. I don't think he's gonna make it. There's 2 more antelope right there. It's like 7 or 8 on the day. And out of all the places I've walked so far through Nevada, this area seems to be one of the most desolate. I mean, I haven't seen a ranch or anything since I've left Wendover. It's just been empty. There should be some water up in this canyon just a couple miles away. All right, yesterday I saw a dead bobcat. Today, dead coyote. Coyote, I understand. The farmers shoot them. They'll keep them away from their cows. I just don't understand the bobcat. So that's all the Schell Creek Range where I'm headed right now. Boy, is it looking dark. It doesn't say do not enter. It doesn't say no trespassing. It says enter, but at your own risk. getting really windy now, and the air is thick with the smell of rain. Well, I found my water source right there. It's still not the greatest, the cleanest. There's a lot of animal signs. Of course, now it's raining. It's a matter of get your water in the rain or try and find a place to get out of the rain. There's really no place to do that.
So I found the source of the water flowing through this valley. Water's piped into this well from a spring and then overflows, runs downhill. Basically means good water for me.
So that actually worked pretty well. Just dipped my bottle in there. Crystal clear water. I'm just glad I didn't have to filter it from the puddles out there with all the animal tracks in it. I just went 4 hours without a break. Pretty thirsty. I was almost out of water. I was basically rationing all day. Should have taken water from the last water source, and I'm kicking myself for not doing it. It was really hot. Now it's cold. Nevada. Wild. Man, the weather has just been weird today. It's not normal to have a full day of just clouds and rain. It's just been like wave after wave of, rain and clouds, so I don't really know how to plan for tonight. Normally I just head up to the ridge and call it a day, camp up high up on the ridge, but tonight I just don't know. There's another water source. Pretty glad I got water from the last one. So I just found this horseshoe. It's kind of interesting. Most of the horses around here are wild horses, not domestic. Got a pond there. Oh, and you can smell it, man, it's nasty. And then another pond here. Whew, man, that reeks. It's like full of algae and shit, presumably. Probably a few dead animals in there too. All right, so that's Becky Peak up there, and Camp Spring is up there. But the way the weather's looking tonight, and just the way it's been all day today, I don't really want to be up there. I think I'm just going to call it a day. It's 7:30 anyway. I think I'll just camp right here somewhere and then go up there, get my water tomorrow, and just deal with it tomorrow. Well, I'm glad I didn't go all the way up to the saddle. It's windy enough here. Damn. Kind of set my tent up in the wrong direction. It's catching all the wind. All right, morning time. Well, everything's dry this morning, even though it rained quite a bit last night. Wind was whipping pretty good. And today's probably going to be a pretty tough day. When the trail ends up here pretty shortly, it's going to be a lot of off-trail ridge walking, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough day. Oh, wow, there's actually a sign up there. Wasn't really expecting that. Well, it's interesting that it says the peak is 9,859 feet. The number I had, I think, was 10,002 feet. It's quite a big difference, actually. You're talking about 150 feet. So this is Camp Spring. This is the spring I wanted to make it to last night if it wasn't raining. It's probably a good thing I stayed down low. The winds were whipping pretty good down there, even in that canyon. All right, so I've got an idea to improve my water filtration system here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna poke a little hole. I'm gonna run a string through it, and this way I can kind of set this up in a gravity feed system, kind of like I did on the CDT. big knot there. I don't know, I'll make it maybe about that big. Okay. Now I got myself a gravity feed system here. Wrap this around this, or tree or whatever, wherever I'm at. And now this thing is gonna work while I'm doing other stuff. So there's 2 troughs. And this is why I filtered from the other one. And a couple floating little chipmunks here. I was originally planning on going back around the mountain, take this other route up Becky Peak, but this looks pretty direct, albeit a little bit steep. Pretty direct, and it'll save me a couple of miles, I think, of walking to go around the other way. And the actual summit's hidden from view just beyond that little saddle. But even from here, just looking south, awesome view of the Schell Creek Range. And it's starting to look a little bit steeper now that I approach it. There's rattlesnake number 2 under the rock there. I'm probably about 10 feet away. All right, we'll let him be. So much for rattlesnakes being down low in the desert. Only 2 I've seen on this trip so far have been up high in the mountains. If I hadn't already seen a couple of these along my route in other sections, I'd think this thing was a bit strange. But what gives it away is these goofy looking like fins up here, and that would have sat on top of the metal shaft up there. And this is some sort of water measuring device. But this one is, I'd say it's out of service. This is the final push now up to the summit of Becky Peak. Well, this is the summit of Becky Peak. Man, what a view. That's Steptoe Valley down there, Cherry Creek Range. Well, you know, another summit register. It's only the second one I've seen on this whole trip.
And this right here is what embodies the spirit of what I had envisioned for this trail, the Basin and Range Trail. You know, walking the crest of a north-south running mountain range, straddling 2 valleys and 2 more mountain ranges. Doesn't get any better than this.
Everybody knows that saying, money can't buy happiness. Now the older I get, the less I care about those things, really. I think it's all about the experiences, the memories that you make that are really worth it. And that's why hikes like this are so special to me, because it's just kind of like making a lifetime's worth of memories, you know, in a couple of months. It's like an 800-foot climb to go up and over that, just to drop back down, you know, another 800 or 1,000 feet on the other side. But I think I'll take this route on the east here, and it looks a little bit less steep, a little bit shorter, and maybe less vegetation. All right, so up there in that little saddle is where I'm shooting for. So hopefully there's a good horse trail that leads up there. All right, so I'm on my saddle. Everything looks really thick. I'm gonna follow this line here basically to, there's a spring there and then road going up on the saddle. So that's what I'm shooting for. Grip on my shoes are really starting to wear out. I've already fallen down about 5 times today. This is no easy cross-country travel. Every step is slipping and falling. This wears on you. This is a dry spring. You get these big containers here. There's not a whole lot of shade around, so this is gonna be my lunch spot. I mean, it's 1 o'clock. I've only done like maybe 7 miles. Doing a whole through hike of off trail hiking is just hard. And it's going to be another 1,000-foot climb up to the top of this saddle. So that's north of Lovell Peak, and that little nipple to the right is called the Nipple. Kind of hard to tell on the map, you know, what you're gonna get until you get out here. It's one of those pleasant surprises. It's absolutely gorgeous.
There is a road that goes up to that ridge line, and my original plan was to follow that a ways off trail, but the problem is there's no easy way off it. You know, like cliffs and thick trees and stuff, and I'm just not about to get myself into that kind of mess again right before sunset.
There's definitely water down there. Looks like quite a bit of water too. Might as well follow it upstream as far as it goes. And actually there's a cabin right up here, or at least there's a cabin marked on the map. So I'm kind of hoping there's like a trough or something there where it's overflowing from for easy collection. Here's the cabin, all right. It's pretty dilapidated. I can tell at one time, whoever lived here, a really nice little place. Water right here, beautiful view. Got trees growing in the living room now. All right, not staying in this one tonight, that's for sure. The spring keeps going uphill. I always love these kind of rock formations. I don't know what it is. Oh yeah. Man, look at this. Look at all these jagged cliffs over here. It's like kind of like the ghost chutes. And then wow, just that look down into the desert. That's beautiful. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, it's interesting because my map doesn't even show a road coming down the other side of this pass. So far, I like its trajectory. It's just kind of following along those cliffs. I can deal with that. There's no better feeling than being done with all the big climbing of the day. The temperature cooling down a little bit, quite a bit. Just having gorgeous, gorgeous views. Makes hiking a lot more enjoyable. Down there low in the valley is Schell Ranch. There's a road that comes up through the mountains here. But unfortunately, I got to drop down to like 6,700 feet or something like that and then climb right back up to the ridgeline again. But first I have to get down this very steep road. Ooh. Yeah, you just slide down. It's easier just to walk through the brush on the side of the road. And there's another like 7 or 8 horses. I feel like they're always in groups of 7 or 8. It's their thing.
If you ever think you're having a bad day, just remember, it could always be worse. You could be missing a hoof.
Here's another cabin. She's got no roof. Roomy, you know, lots of headroom. Now here's a spot on the map called Macintosh Place. And I was kind of hoping to find a spot to camp here, but it looks pretty overgrown. And there's never anywhere to camp in Nevada. It's a big downside. All this stuff is just sagebrush. There's nothing flat, there's nothing cleared. All right, well, I found myself a spot right next to the road. It's large enough for a tent, and it's actually fairly clear. It's a little uneven, but beggars can't be choosers at this point.
Now, there was an animal that kind of came down one of these trees last night, about an hour after I went to bed, that woke me up. And then a couple hours later, there were some horses running down the road here. Other than that, it's actually a pretty decent campsite.
Well, the route I have planned leads me right up to this private ranch, which blocks the road that you would access the public land on the other side. Typical Nevada, a ranch controlling the whole canyon. So now I gotta walk 3 or 4 or 5 miles out of my way to go over a pass. I just don't understand how you can block public land with your private land. Now I've got to walk probably a good 4 or 5 miles out of my way. Gotta go up this pass, gain several hundred feet, drop down several hundred feet, and gain several hundred more feet. Yeah, I don't know what it is, last week or so, like 5 a.m. the bees have just been buzzing my tent non-stop all morning, and really it wakes me up. I can't really sleep. They're just, you know, really a couple inches from my ear because they're just on the other side of the mosquito netting. So I figure I got about 9 to 11 days of hiking left before I finish this thing. And I remember on the CDT, getting that close to the end, just how slow time went. Every day is pretty slow out here as it is, but at the end of a trip like this, man, it crawls. It's like an eternity. And there's water. Doesn't look too appetizing though. Pretty much comes out of this spot right here, and there's really no way to, you know, to collect from it per se. You dig it out a little bit. And there's another like 8 or 10 horses up there on the hillside. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, it's more like 12 or more. These 4x4 roads are a killer. And these are the kind, if you're going down, man, forget about it. You just kind of slip and slide your way down. All right, so I just got this climb, like another 600 feet. I'm gonna be on the top of the crest. Follow that for a little while without any big climbs. These climbs in the heat, man, they wear you out. These damn 4x4 roads. So steep. Oh man, finally at the top of this ridge here. Kind of surprised to see all these trees. Good thing though, could use the shade. Bit of a break. I still have a couple hundred, several hundred feet to climb up that. I keep saying I think I should have, you know, fairly flat walking for a while, like the road just kind of stays at the same elevation for a while and not have to climb and climb and climb. Man, I'm like glad I'm not down in the valley today. It's 97 degrees in Ely, which is the closest town, and the next several days are going to be 100 degrees in Ely. So for me, it's a little bit cooler up here in the mountains, but it's still hot. And right there is Schell Ranch, where I was this morning, and you can see how direct the route would have been if I could have taken this canyon from there all the way up to, you know, this pass. Instead, I had to go all the way up this road, up over this pass, around this entire mountain, and then come up a canyon up to this point. This road I was walking actually turned into a single track. Pretty surprised about that. Feels like a really long time since I've been on an actual trail. Another 1,000-foot, 1,200-foot climb out of the way. And now I think I can coast for a couple miles. There's the first cairn I've seen in quite a while. I guess since the East Humboldt. And those were like false cairns. And looking back to the north, you can see Becky Peak where I was yesterday morning. And then all this is Antelope Valley, and then the Antelope Range, which ends right here. And then looking out into that valley, that's Spring Valley. And finally, a good stretch of hiking here. Sweeping views, good trail. And here's another spring. So I've got about 2.5 or 3 liters. That'll get me to my next spring. But I could use the water to cool off a bit. Oh man, that feels good. Man, I wish that was a swimming pool full of water right now. You know, I can handle the walking all day long. I'm just so sick of climbing. That's what really wears on me, is the climbing. You know, it's like the upper 90s out. It's just climbing uphill, uphill, uphill. It's just brutal. And right down there is the wreckage of an old truck. Can't really see much, but you can only imagine he was just working his way along this road, perhaps in wintertime or something, and just went off the edge. Well, I gotta say, the rigors of this hike are really wearing on me now. You know, mentally, I'm just checked out. I still have like 10 days more of hiking. 10 days of hot hiking with a lot of climbing. And that's the peak I just came down, and wow, you know, now I drop down in elevation and see it from a different angle, and you could really see all the, you know, the limestone cliffs and everything on this side, and you know, the Goshutes, the Egan's, and apparently the Schell Creek Range is just really known for that. Well, I have yet another 1,000 foot climb ahead of me, and this one's on a steep 4x4 road as well. It is so hot. It's so hot. Next couple of days are going to be even hotter than this. I started going up this hill. You can see how steep this thing is. I just can't keep doing these 1,000 foot, 2,000 foot climbs in this heat. So the sun was just behind some clouds, and a nice little breeze for like 15 minutes. And that was the only way I was able to make any progress up this thing. All right, up and over that pass. It's done. Another 1,000 foot climb. Time to stumble my way through another basin here.
dirt and rocks to patch a roof leak. But of course.
It's the first sign I've seen. It's just pretty amazing. There's all these roads up here. There's no campsites. What do people do? Sleep in their car? Seriously, haven't seen a single campsite yet. Finally starting to cool off. Sun's behind the ridge. I'm in the shade. And what a beautiful evening. Yeah, I just wish I had more than 1 hour a day of this, you know, beautiful walking, good temperature, no bugs, no climbing. Kind of just wish the day consisted solely of, you know, moments like these. And these are the kind of moments that I feel like I really need to kind of keep me going. When times get tough like today, it's just so good to be able to end the day on a good, positive note. Here's another old cabin. It's about 8 o'clock now. It's that dreaded time of the evening. Time to look for a place to camp. Well, tonight must be my lucky night. I've got this whole field here, anywhere I want to camp. Perfect spot to camp. And believe it or not, just 50 yards away is a nice spring. Like that water for the morning. You don't even understand how happy that makes me. I'm tired of fighting for campsites. I'm tired of doing all this ridiculous stuff at, you know, when I just want to go to bed. Well, it's day 5 now since I've left Wendover. So I figure I got another 40 miles or so before I get to Ely. And just depending on the way things work out, that'll be either tomorrow night or sometime Saturday morning. And I guess this is like a weather monitoring station. Wind, rain, yeah, I don't know. You got the sensor over here. Yeah, we'll sense this and throw off your readings. Got this big tin can thing here. It's all pretty high tech. Keep working. I just passed a guy with his 2 dogs, and I thought maybe this guy going out for a hike. And I see his horse. Then I hear 1,000 sheep down there in the valley. The sheep herder. Now I can hear him and see him. Bah, bah. Oh look, sheep. They look confused. All right, top of another pass. From here, I believe, drops down quite a bit. All right, so big climb of the morning done, and now drop down this this road here and round this ridge, and then I'll continue along the Ranger Trail for a little bit. And that kind of marks the beginning of the high country. There's a big ridge that runs all the way south from there, with Taft Peak and South Schell Peak, and all of that is above 11,000 feet for a good, I don't know, 10 miles maybe a little bit more. So I'm hoping to at least make it to the approach of that peak tonight. And the trail was really, really good, really solid, just a really, really good trail. And all of a sudden I come over this pass and it's all soft again. When I was hiking with Kem, the rancher from the Peak Wops, he had used the term poof dirt, and I thought that was just perfect. That's exactly what it is. So now my shoes are full of this shit. And so the tent I saw back there probably belonged to that sheep herder I saw this morning. Kind of makes sense. So now I'm dropping way down low to North Creek, and I think it's like 7,200 feet or something like that. So it'll be like a 4,500 foot climb to get back up to North Schell Peak if I want to climb that tomorrow. This trail I'm on here has just led me to this. I really want to walk through all this stuff. I don't even see where it's going. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm off trail now. Well, this sucks. I was not counting on this. I was counting on a trail the whole way. I'm just looking down here, and all I see is sagebrush and thick brush, steep hills. Well, I found the trail again. A lot of times you can pick back up on it by sort of following your instinct, really. You know, looking at the terrain and saying, what's the best path forward? And a lot of times that's where the trail is. A lot of times it isn't too. Sometimes trails just in random places, it seems. But in this case, I was able to find it, at least for now. The trail just led me to this little wooded area here with a small creek. I've only got a half a liter left, so perfect timing. Collect some water from here, take a break. Gotta say, I'm really happy with the gravity feed system that I made. Kind of wishing I did that a little bit sooner. While my water is filtering itself, I'm gonna wash my socks. And they need it. Look at that, ooh. She's getting thick on me. Some of these are, oh yeah, those are thorn bushes. Is that a road? Yeah, that is a road, sweet. Getting spoiled with these roads, I'll tell you. Man, I'm kind of disappointed with this area. I was, yesterday was just absolutely gorgeous, and then this whole area here just looks kind of barren, dry, plain. Here's another burn area. You can almost smell it. It must be pretty recent. Never miss an opportunity to dunk my head in this kind of heat. Man, this whole hillside's burned. Basically this whole canyon. And I see scenes like this and I kind of think of Planet Earth and what's his name, David Attenborough. And the animals return to their homes only to find destruction. Where now will they live? So I just missed my turn for the Ranger Trail. If I wanted to continue following that, kind of skirt around the hillside like I've been doing for the past couple of days. So now I'm taking a lower route into Duck Creek Valley, and I was kind of debating doing this anyway. The Ranger Trail just didn't look that appealing from the route down from North Creek. If nothing else, this will get me to Timber Creek Campground a little bit quicker. That'll kind of set me up nice for tomorrow. And there's a possibility if I was to take a hitch and get to Timber Creek that I could get up to the ridgeline today, which would be really, really nice. So when I hiked the Continental Divide Trail in 2018, I walked with a German guy named Sprinkler here and there. He was pretty good about using feet, you know, like saying, oh, you know, we got to go up 800 feet, you know, and you'd think he would use meters because that's what he's used to. But every now and then I would mess with him and say, yeah, you know, those mountain goats over there, they're like 40 decameters away. And a decameter's 10 meters, you know. I've just never heard decameters used in any context, and I was unsure, you know, when you would use them. Is there a proper context? Are they even used at all? And his reaction was priceless. He says, decameters, those are stupid, we don't use those. But with that said, the metric system makes, you know, infinitely more sense than, you know, the imperial system, our system here in the US. So when you think about it, you know, how many inches are in a foot? Oh, a nice round 12. Okay, how many feet are in a mile? Again, a nice round 5,280. What? Why? Why not just 5,000? Kind of hoping to be able to get a hitch over to Timber Creek Campground and save me a little time. Well, now I'm road walking. I was kind of hoping for a dirt road, to be honest, because nobody ever stops for a hiker on a paved highway. On a dirt road though, for whatever reason, they stop. I don't even have to put my thumb out. They just stop and say, hey man, you all right? Or just stare at you like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Especially in this heat. People must think I'm crazy. Man, I've been walking this road for an hour now, and there's been about 10 vehicles that have come at me, and only one that's going the direction that I'm going. And that guy was in like a diesel truck towing four-wheelers, and those guys never stop. I'm trying to stereotype type of people that stop for hitchhikers, and I can tell you it's for me it's always been, if I can just say like one trait, it's been people over 45. No young people ever stop. Nobody towing like recreational vehicles, and nobody towing like four-wheelers or snowmobiles or, you know, jet skis or anything like that. You know, those people never stop. No truckers. Single women, if they're older, they will. I've only had one guy probably ever under 40 stop for me, and he was a hiker himself. So yeah, generally the older folks. She's got her worms. The color of this lake's beautiful.
And his new buddy Dave here is gonna catch.
Dave is gonna catch him with that frog.
I would eat this frog. We're gonna have to eat this frog if we don't catch anything.
That's right. That's gonna be dinner if we can't catch any fish. So as I was walking down the main road, a vehicle was going by in the opposite direction that I wanted to go, and they stopped anyway for me and said, "Hey, you know, do you need a lift?" And I said, "Yeah, but the other way where you just came from." And they said, "Yeah, sure. Well, we'll take you where you need to go." I said, "Well, I'm trying to get to Timber Creek Campground." And they said, "Well, that's where we're camped at." And they said, "Well, actually, we're going fishing, and if you want to join us, you can come fishing, and we'll get some drinks, and let's go to the lake and do some fishing. We'll take you to the campground later tonight." And I said, "Sure, why not?" So now I'm here at Cave Lake State Park with my new friends Dave and Donna, and it's another one of those amazing moments where I never thought I'd be fishing on this beautiful lake when I woke up this morning, but here I am.
So Dave is actually here in Nevada on a bit of an exploratory gold mining trip. Now, I know nothing about gold mining, but I've always wanted to meet someone willing to show me the ropes. and it seems today is that day. So instead of hiking, today I'll join Dave and we'll try our luck working some dry creek beds in search of gold.
Yeah, those poles we have were a bit short.
Yeah, they were just like, they're emergency stash poles so we don't break them.
Emergency poles, I like
Yeah.
it. You gotta have your emergency fishing poles on
Definitely
here.
emergency. Yeah, I have a white protector right here, but the battery pack is, I run my camera.
159 miles to empty, but how many miles to gold?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah, it is the question.
Well, I'm in Ely, about a day earlier than I planned, and it's kind of a long story, but a bit necessary to fill in the gaps. So then we drove into Ely, and his plan was to buy a gold detector. Now, he already had one, but I guess he had some sort of problem with the battery pack. So we went to this sports store, and they had a gold detector there, and he tried to buy it with his debit card, and his debit card was declined. So now he's on the phone with his bank trying to figure out how to look at that email on his phone, and he doesn't have email set up. And it was just this whole debacle. I mean, we went through this for like an hour. We're sitting in the heat, you know, out in the sun and everything on the side of the road. So he's wanting to drive 100 miles to some town he doesn't even know where it is to try and get his money. It's already 1 p.m. now, and I'm just kind of, you know, the day is shot. We're not getting anywhere. Nothing's getting done. And the fact that he's not going back to the Timber Creek campground anymore, so that's where I need to go to continue my route. I'm already in Ely, which is where I'm trying to end this section of the route. I just said, hey, you know what? You can just drop me off here in town. So here I am in Ely again. This is where I started my hike on June 1st. And you know, the original plan was to do a loop that just started in Ely and ended in Ely. And the idea of a true loop sounds really great, you know, but logistically it doesn't offer me any benefit. It's not like I have a car waiting for me here. There's no airport, so there's no reason for me to end in Ely other than the fact that it would be, you know, a true loop. So I've hiked here to Ely, and then I'm going to do a jog over to Mount Moriah, Great Basin National Park, and just end there in the town of Baker. So today I'll resupply and prepare for the final section of the Basin and Range Trail. And I'm really excited for this last section. It's going to be a great way to finish the hike with the highest elevations of the whole trail, really. So I'll end on a high note, literally. But even more than that, I think I'm just excited to finish the hike and complete it and just kind of be done and move on and relax a little bit. Really echoes down that canyon. That's awesome.
Thanks for watching. I hope I've earned your subscription and a thumbs up. Visit basinandrangetrail.com for official maps and guidebook. Follow Seeking Lost on social media, and consider lending your support on Patreon if you would like to see more quality outdoor content.